She doesn't even know her own name. Not really. Sure, she can say it, Juliette. But the person walking around Silo 18 right now, wearing the mayor's badge, giving speeches to a crowd that basically worships her, that's not really Juliette anymore. That's a woman with her memory whipped clean, being controlled by 2 little pills a day. And here's the scary part. She doesn't even know it's happening. Silo is finally back after a year and a half, and this episode does something the show has never really done before. It splits us between 2 completely different worlds. One is the Silo we know, the other one is Washington, D.C., decades, maybe centuries before any of this happened. Welcome back to Nima's Movie Cave. Today we're breaking down everything that happened in Season 3, Episode 1. What's really going on with Juliette's memory? Who's actually in control of the Silo now? And what that mysterious flashbacks in DC might be hiding. Let's get into it. The episode opened with a nurse putting a couple of pills on the table. Here's your vitamins.
Here's your vitamins.
Now, if you've seen even one episode of this show, you know that line is not innocent. Nothing in Silo is ever that simple. Those aren't vitamins, they're memory suppression drugs, and they're the reason Juliette can walk around the Silo every day and not remember Knox, not remember Shirley, not even remember that her own father died on those very stairs she's fixing. So how did we even get here? Here's what actually happened. Based on what we know from the Season 2 finale, Juliette went outside. She made it to Silo 17. She met Solo.
And I'm gonna kill you.
And at the very end, she came back and ran straight into Bernard on her way in. They both got trapped together in that airlock room, the one that uses fire to clean and sterilize anyone coming back from outside. Juliette survived because she was wearing an insulated suit she found in Silo 17. One Solo had actually tasted for her. Bernard wasn't wearing anything close to that level of protection. So while she walked away mostly fine, he didn't. And that's the story everyone believes. Juliette went outside, got lost, somehow survived, and came back a hero. The truth is a lot messier. And Camille, who's now running the show, is determined to keep it that way. So who exactly is Camille now? And how much power does she really have? Let's talk about the power shift, because this is honestly one of the most interesting parts of the premiere. Bernard is gone. Camille has taken his place and she's now the one speaking directly to the algorithm, whatever or whoever that actually is. She's wearing the maroon robe now, which marks her as the head of Rolling Council. Sims has become the judge. And together, this couple is basically running Silo 18 from the shadows, while Juliette gets to be that friendly, smiling face out front. Here's the thing though, even Camille and Sims aren't fully in control. They answer to the algorithm. On this episode, we get a small but very unsettling scene where the algorithm tells Camille to double Juliette's dosage, because she's starting to remember things after 3 months of being completely whipped. 3 months. That's how long she's been like this. And there's a detail here that really stuck with me. When Sims explains to Juliette how Bernard died, he tells her they were trapped for 3 minutes in that room of fire, and it destroyed Bernard's suit but not hers. He says he watched Bernard burn. He says it took 6 further 6 hours to carry the body down to be destroyed. Sound convincing, right? Except later we see a flashback of Sims wrapping plastic around Bernard's face and smothering him. Bernard actually survived the fire. Smith killed him afterward, probably on the algorithm's orders. So think about that for a second. Smith is lying to his own wife about how her old boss really died, and Camille is lying to Juliette about basically everything. Nobody in this silo is telling the truth to anybody, including each other. And I think that's exactly the point the show is trying to make. But if everyone lying to everyone, what does that mean for the woman at the center of it all? This is the question that kept coming back to me the whole episode. Rebecca Ferguson does something really clever here. This new version of Juliette is calm, professional, almost robotic at times. When Hank tries to tell her about something deeply personal they went through together, she just cuts him off with, "Sorry, who are you?" It's almost funny at the first time. By third time, it stings a little. And Shirley, who's hurt by dealing with a version of Juliette who doesn't even recognize their friendship anymore, she's not exactly patient about it either, which honestly is fair. Imagine losing someone, except their body is still walking around, still talking to you, and just doesn't know who you are. But here's where it gets interesting. The drugs aren't perfect. Juliette starts getting flashes. A phrase like "we're good in supply" triggers something. She has dreamed about being outside with Bernard, and these small cracks are enough to convince her that there's something she's supposed to do, even if she doesn't know exactly what that is yet. So the real question hanging over this whole season is, how much of the real Juliette is still in there? And what happens when she finally remembers everything? While all this is happening with Juliette, the silo itself is going through some big changes. There's a new council now. Level reps and department leads all sitting together. We meet Harwood, the head of mining, who's kind of hilarious in a dark way. He jokes that when tunnels collapse, it's not really an accident. He also explains something huge, based on the number of tunnels and shafts. The silo has been around for roughly 300 years. 300 years, let that sink in. We also learn Paul Billings, the sheriff now, is quietly rewriting parts of the pact, the silo's founding rulebook. That's a massive deal, and honestly, kind of terrifying. Because whoever controls the pact controls what people are and aren't allowed to know. And then there's Orla, who stepped into Clara's old role in supply. She's smart, she's kind, and she's the one who notices supplies have been quietly disappearing. Stuff like computers and light bulbs. Where's it all going? We don't know yet, but it's clearly connected to something bigger. Oh, and there's a new group causing trouble. They call themselves the Outsiders, a group that broke into the suit room, stole a helmet, and dropped a banner with the video of Jane Carmody's cleaning. Their message? This is the truth. The display is a lie. That's a direct attack on the entire system the silo is built on, and it's going to cause serious problems. But as chaotic as things are down in the silo, the next part of this episode takes us to somewhere none of us expected. Now, here's the part of the episode that really changes the shape of this whole show. We jump to what looks like our world, Washington, D.C. A congressman named Daniel Keene, his sister Charlotte, a fighter pilot. He's clearly nervous about an upcoming mission. She wants Daniel to get a seat on a special committee, one led by a tough, no-nonsense senator named Truman, so he can find out what's really going on. And what's really going on is this. Iran has detonated a dirty bomb in DC. The US is about to retaliate. Charlotte flies out that night as part of the mission, and then things go very wrong. Her jet climbs to 50,000 feet. It flies into some kind of strange cloud, and suddenly the instruments fail. A weird residue covers the screens. Planes start going down. Charlotte survives, but barely. She ends up in the special clinic for traumatic brain injury, and when Daniel finally gets to see her, she looks at him and asks,
Who are you?
Sound familiar? That's not a coincidence. The show is drawing a direct line between Charlotte's memory losses and Juliette's. Two women centuries apart, both losing their memories right after something catastrophic happens in the sky or on the surface. And both of them are being controlled by people who decide exactly how much truth they're really allowed to know. So now we've got two big questions running side by side. What actually happened up at 50,000 feet? And is this the actual beginning of everything that leads to the silos being built in the first place? So, let's bring it back to where the episode ends. Juliette's day is basically the same as it started. Quiet, controlled, washed. She gets a bowl of soup delivered to her apartment. She almost gags trying to eat it. And when she dumps it out in the sink, she finds a hidden note at the bottom. Want to know the truth? Leave your bowl upside down. Go to the marketplace at 2. Burn this. She burns it, which probably means she's going. Now, who left that note? My best guess is someone connected to Patrick Kennedy and the Outsiders. There's also a theory floating around that it could be Lucas. Remember, he's still officially missing, presumed dead. Wouldn't be the first time this show pulled that kind of twist. Either way, this note is clearly going to push Juliette toward remembering who she really is. And that's going to be a massive problem for Camille, Sims, and whatever or whoever is really behind that algorithm. So here where season 3 leaves us. Juliette is a puppet wearing a mayor's badge, slowly waking up from a fog she didn't even know she was in. Camille and Sims are holding onto power built on lies, some of which they're even keeping from each other. And somewhere, centuries in the past, plane went down in a mysterious cloud that might be the very first domino in a chain that led to 50 silos buried underground. This show has always been about one thing, really. What happens when the people in power decide how much of the truth everyone else deserves to know? And based on this premiere, we're just getting started. What do you think is really in that cloud Charlotte flew into? And who do you think left that note in Juliette's soap bowl? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you in the next one.